thing they say when, leftist women, or even, okay, get this, guys. So Rachel Levine, the man who lived 54 years as a man and then suddenly declared he was a woman, was praised a couple weeks ago for being the first female, according to the New York Times, to be a 4-star admiral as the HHS assistant secretary, whatever he is. And he was written up as this hero for women, that this dude who has been a dude for more than half a century, but grew his hair out and decided to wear lipstick. I, as a woman, am supposed to say, yes, thank you so much, Rachel Levine. You are just the pinnacle of femininity. How did you overcome this oppressive patriarchy and get to where you are? That's apparently what we're supposed to say. But Winsome Sears, the first Black woman to win a statewide office in Virginia, we're not supposed to think about her at all. Somehow, this election was
making the history books by breaking boundaries.
Yeah, she now holds a very high honor in the U.S. Public Health Service. Alicia's here now with more on the U.S. Assistant Secretary of Health's new appointment.
Indeed, today, Dr. Levine became the first openly transgender person and first woman to be sworn in as a 4-star officer across any of the country's 8 uniformed services. Today, she was sworn in as an admiral, the highest ranking official of the U.S. Public Health Service commissioned corps.
I, Rachel L. Levine,
having been appointed an officer in the Commissioned Corps of the U.S. Public Health Service,
bipartisan basis to be.
Website removed a tweet from Banks about a transgender Biden administration official, Dr. Rachel Levine. Levine recently became the first openly transgender 4-star officer in the armed forces. Banks tweeted, "The officer gets taken by a man." Twitter said that violates a rule against targeted misgendering of transgender people.
This little boy was great. He said, puberty was awful. My body changed tentacles. And I went, Johnny, you grew tentacles. You mean testicles? And he went, oh, yeah, testicles. I was like, so what if you're a transgender teenager, right? So what if you remember puberty? Wasn't that fun? Wasn't that a lot of fun? So what if you're going through the wrong puberty? What if you're a transgender young woman, meaning male to female, and now you're getting, your voice is dropping, you're getting bigger, you're getting hair everywhere, and you're growing those tentacles, And what if you're a transgender young man and now you have breast development in periods? It can be terrifying. And there's a lot of mental health issues during that time. The previous treatment before these new guidelines came about that's when you're 18 and have a nice life. Basically, there was no medical treatment for individuals that were under 18. So there are new guidelines, and so these are the new guidelines that are very well accepted by healthcare professionals. They're international guidelines, and most children's hospitals will be doing this. I did this. I would treat patients at Penn State Hershey Medical Center when I was there. I think they're trying to find someone to do that. Probably the biggest program near here is at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia in the Penn system, and they have an excellent clinic for transgender youth. So for prepubertal children, there is no medical treatment. Well, that kind of makes sense. I mean, they're prepubertal, so they don't really have clinical levels of sex hormones, so what medical treatment would you want to do? So the idea would be to see a counselor or a therapist who is supportive, who has knowledge about these issues, to, you could some see me medically, and then depending on their age, come see me in a year or two, but there's nothing medical to do. So the protocol developed in the Netherlands has 2 phases. The first phase, at the young adolescent age, is to give what are called a pubertal blocker, to give a medicine to block the progression of puberty, so you don't go through the wrong puberty. And then to continue some counseling, and then somewhere between 14 and 16 years of age, to start slowly cross-gender hormones. Under 18, and they're not an emancipated minor, meaning if they're under 18 and they are on the street or they're completely emancipated parents, then you can do treatment. I can reassure you that Governor Wolf and our administration are very completely supportive for LGBT individuals and programs and transgender individuals. That way, for a transgender woman, male to female, their voice doesn't drop, they don't have hair, they don't have to have electrolysis. For a transgender man, they don't have breast development that will need surgery, they don't have periods, etc. So you block puberty, and then you can, with the appropriate time, send them through the puberty consistent with their gender identity. Does that make sense?
They're really showing themselves to do really well. Come on, man.